Adrian, Black Demon is such an interesting film because we haven't seen a film like this in a while. Like you have the Megalodon films, but this reminds me of like that feeling like when Jaws first came out, where it's really that it's not overly technical, but yet it's very small and centric, that pulls you in. How hard was it to develop a film like this where there's so many shark movies out in the world, but you are trying to tell a story that's different, unique, and really push the envelope?
Well, for starters, thank you. That's a really high bar, but the name Jaws is imposing.
Yes.
But obviously, it's a name I grew up with, and I'm a big fan. Um, and that is the main thing was how do you make something different? How do you make something somehow unique? And I think in this case, the whole Latin, Hispanic, and uh, uh, factor was what drew me to the movie. And at the end of the day, um, I think it's more important to tell the story than to show the shark.
Mhm.
So if we managed to tell a story that people relate to and get a few scares and understand that there's an allegory about this creature and a mythology about where it comes from, then hopefully we will have some success with it.
Yeah, and that's what I love about the film because you really don't see the shark that much, but that anticipation is there, and that's what I like about it because that's what makes a lot of good horror films or thriller films so popular is the fact that you don't really know until you see it, and
Right.
that's what I love what you did with that. It's a great way of working with it for the film.
Absolutely. And hopefully that's what we went for, even going against certain, we debated the movie takes place in one day. So
Yeah.
should we shoot it at night to make it scarier? And there was then something about having the ability of seeing where you are and the isolation where you're at, that we decided to go, to shoot it in the day, in one day as opposed to one night. And I think that also, is sort of different from what um, might be a general convention. So hopefully, we are successful at creating that feeling and people relate to it.
And one thing I want to touch upon is your cinematographer for this film. Uh, how how did you bring him on board? Because I love the look. I like the way it's shot. Please tell me about bringing
Well,
him.
Antonio is a famous Mexican DP. He did Mama. He's a very well known DP. It was important for me to have as much as a Hispanic crew as possible, and the DP, being that close, I loved the idea. I was looking for a Mexican DP. We had never worked together. We knew of each other, and it was great because he looks at light beyond what is in front of the camera. He's one of those DPs who thinks life revolves around light and darkness.
Mhm.
So everything he does is based on that. So he's very good at what he does, and I think there's a lot of him in this movie.
Yeah, and I love it. I love the way it looks, the feel of it. It really pulls you into the area and the location. Tell us about the location because the location does play us so much into this film, and it's so cool. Tell us a little bit about picking the location.
Well, the story takes place in Baja,
Yeah.
right, and then in an offshore rig in Baja. We shot in the Dominican Republic. The actual town itself is very similar in ways to what it would be here in Mexico. So that was easy. And then we had an amazing production designer, Carlos Osorio, who built this rig. And it is a central piece of as much as a shark, the rig itself is a central piece. And he gave us, it was a very interesting design that allowed us to sort of walk around and go through all of this spaces, which were actually relatively small, but it just gave the impression of being a little bit larger and being able to move around the space. It was great, and it gives you the sense of being there, actually shooting not against a green screen. Being able to shoot it live just puts you that much more into the shoot. I know, as a filmmaker.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to also touch upon about this film is the cast. You got Josh Lucas. You got a great supporting cast. Tell us a little bit about bringing the cast together, and also those kids, because those kids really do sell the film.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Josh is amazing, and Josh, even once he understood what it is we wanted to do with this movie and where I wanted to take it as a character, he jumped right on it, and he understood what it was, and he brought so much to the table, and this understanding of a character, that a flawed character that needs to redeem himself, and he really brought that on, and Fernanda and Julio Cesar, everybody knew and added to it. And that's part of what I think it looks great on camera, is that they had the ability of bringing a lot of their ideas and what they thought of these characters into the script. And the kids were a home run. I mean, Audrey Venus is amazing, and we knew that from seeing her. With Carlos, it was a little different because we had nothing to look at. He had shot one movie which was still not out yet, so we didn't know. But we took the plunge of doing it with him at such an early age, and he was a rock star, because to me he is the central character. He is the one character that brings all of the philosophies together, the Western civilization, the American father, the Mexicanness of his mother, and then the Tlaloc, world behind him. He understands it, he gets it, and he ties everything together.
Yeah, and I love that. I love the way everything kind of pieces together and how it goes to move the story forward. It was just great. I love it. One last question: what can you tell the MUSE TV audience to get them to the theater? Because I didn't get a chance to see this on the theater. I saw it on a screener through my computer, and I'm looking forward to seeing this in the big screen, because this is meant for a big screen. At least,
look, it was shot knowing that it was going to a big screen, which makes a difference. When you're going to a TV, you don't shoot it any worse, but there's certain licenses you can take, and shooting it knowing that it goes to a big screen, and being everything that's out there, and the Marvels and the big tentpole movies, for something smaller like this, it's worth it. I think just the whole experience of being in a movie theater changes the way you react to it. So the more people that can see it in a movie theater, the better for them. And for me, I think it's an experience as a filmmaker that you want to stick with.
Yeah, and this is one of those films that I really think, like, if you get that big screen experience, it's the surround sound, it's really going to pull you in a way that that other medium platforms do not really would. I think you did a great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
When is, first, before we let go, when does it release? When can people be able to see it?
April 28th in theaters in the US, and then the rest of the world just continues to open up. So, but April 28th, big screen in the US.
Awesome. And we'll put links in the description to be able to purchase your tickets to watch it in the theater. Adrian, thank you so much for stopping with us. I really appreciate it. Great job on this film. I truly enjoyed it, and much success with the film on release.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.